Lucas near Chanukah, and I went another time to the Sukkah, Chalamoid, and I was very taken. I was very moved by the avodah that I saw by the Rebbe and the entire Sviva, the Aliyah, the Kedusha that was present in those very special days. And then, over the years, there were certain inyanim, few times that I had with the Munkatcher Rebbe Shlita, been in his home, and I was nispoil of the pikchus and of the mesirus to Yidden that had nothing to do with Munkatch. And I've even sent people to the Rebbe from time to time. So you think that that's the reason why I agreed to just introduce the Rebbe with a few words. But that's not the reason. The reason is because I believe Klal Yisrael owes a debt to the Munkatcher Rebbe. I want to begin with a story. It's a gepasste Chassidish Maise, but it's a Maise with Rav Hutner. It's a shtickle Rebbe, it's a given. So maybe it's okay. When Mechutin told me, he was a very close Talmud of Rav Hutner, he says one day, Sunday was the day that Rav Hutner would see people. And Sunday evening, a Talmud took him home. It was about 7:30. It was at the end of Second Seder. And the Rosh Hashiva gets into the car and he slumps over. Mamish, afisas koiches, and he collapses. And the Talmud looks, it's in bewilderment. And he says, Bocherl, ihr meint, as was tut mir getan heint. What did he do? I ran the marathon. I'm so exhausted that I just collapsed and fall over like this. He says, Ich will euch etwas sagen. He says, Sunday I see people. And I saw today about 15 to close to 15, 20 people. He says, Menschen kommen für Eitzes. They come for brachas. They come to talk out their heart. He says, before you give somebody an eitzah, he says, you have to put yourself in their matziv. Which means I have to take off my begodim and I have to put on their begodim. And then maybe I'll be able to understand their matziv and understand what kind of an eitzah I can give to them. He says, a roiston, and then onton, and a roiston, onton, 15 mal. He says, that's very tiring. I don't know if we realize how many times a day to so many individuals, not only in the kill of Munkatch, many people who have no shaykhs to this kihila, that the Rebbe is meyayis and that he's involved with, and people know the uniqueness of certain mitzvahs that are the Rebbe's mitzvahs. And it takes an untold amount of time and koiches, which the Rebbe gives freely. Oiston, onton, oiston, onton. And so such a yid, such a doheben a yid, is beged the Rabbim strichen loy. That the tzibur needs him. And the need for the things that he stands for. And there's a special bechina in halacha v'negeya to that. And that's why I'm here. And that's why it's a kavod to introduce such a doheben a mensch, both in godless of Torah and Chassidus, but above all, his mesirus imegegebenkeit for Klal Yisrael. So the Magen Avram. The Magen Avram discusses an inyan which the Mishnah brings about when the Maril was ill, he was sick. So they used to say slichas in the middle of Shmoneh Esrei. So there's a shaila, are you allowed to have a bakosha for a yochid? You can't, even in the bakoshas. There's certain halachas, you're allowed to have a short bakosha, and then there's longer bakosha. So short bakosha, like we put in for Rafa'enu, you're allowed to put in every bakosha, me'ein, that bracha, you're allowed to put in. But this was a ganze slichas, it was all arichas of tefillas for the Maril. which you're not allowed to do for a yochid. And the Gemara is mechalik. It talks about differences between the tshuva of a yochid, tshuva of a tzibur. Zok the Mogen Avram that a yid azovi the maril is rabim tzrichem loy, and he has a din of a tzibur. And he has a din of a tzibur, then it's like being mispal for the tzibur. And therefore he says la halacha, we can say an arichas of bakosha in these brachas. I feel that's the uniqueness of our kesher to the Munkatcher Rebbe Zal Zayin Gesund. And his Taira Eidim, the Rosh Hashiva, and the Moistus of Torah. This is Rabim Tzrichem Loi. The Davhavim dimension. People think that they're all over the place. I'm telling you they're not. I deal with many Choshev Rosh Hashivas, Manhigim. There are few, and I tell you again, very few, that you call and immediately Voske Meton, Voske Mehelfen, makes no difference from their Machne, Yena Machne. That's the Geder of Munkatch, Rabbi Tzrichem. It's a gewaltige schia, and I believe that at this particular time, I'm reminded of what Rabbi Lapian says. He says a person should have many yedidim, should have many chaverim. Especially, he says, when it comes to Yom Neroyim time. Because when a person stands alone, when you stand as a yochid, we're vulnerable. And the Rebbeinu Shalom looks at this yochid. But when you're a chelik of the tzibur, and you have your chaverim, and you're meshutef, and you're connected to moistus of Torah, and moistus of Chassidus, and Rebbes, and Rosh Hashivas, and there's a close kesher, then you're part of a larger group. And as part of that tzibur, the schus tzibur goes with you. And then we're not watched, and we're not carefully scrutinized in the same way. So we have a gewaltige schia for the Yom Adin to become a kusher and connected both to the Rebbe, to the Rosh Hashiva, to their moistus, which, as I said, is a gather of a tzibur, of Rabim Tzrichem. And in that schus in Mitzvah Hashem, we should all be zeicha, a gut gebencht Yorach, Sivach Simetova, es me gewaltige Covid vorzustellen, bevor ich Kedusha Sa'adma mit Munkatch für Divrei Yesayros. Nein, nein, ich bin ein Boy.